Did you know that nearly 30% of rideshare drivers believe they're fully covered by their company's insurance policies? Now, to put that in perspective, with about 2.5 million rideshare drivers across major platforms like Uber and Lyft, that means around 750,000 drivers may be on the road with significant coverage gaps, and they may not even realize it. 750,000 drivers. It's clear there's a real gap in understanding, so the question is, do you know if and when you're actually covered? Today we'll break down the details of rideshare insurance coverage, show you where the gaps are, and what you can do to stay protected. Let's get into it. Before we get started, let me tell you a little about me. I'm a licensed property and casualty adjuster with 8 years of experience across the claims process, from helping people at accident scenes to the final steps of recovering deductibles. I specialize in auto claims, so I've seen firsthand where drivers get caught without coverage. Now, of course, this video isn't legal advice and insurance laws vary by state, so check with your insurance provider or an attorney if you have specific questions. So how does rideshare insurance actually work? Rideshare and delivery drivers typically are covered in 3 phases, each with its own type of coverage. Let's dive into each phase, starting with what happens when the app is on, where you're waiting for a ride or a delivery request. Phase 1 kicks in the moment you turn the app on and start waiting for a ride or a delivery request. At this point, the rideshare or delivery company's insurance offers some limited coverage, but it's not as extensive as you might think. Here's what's covered. They generally provide liability coverage only, and it's meant to cover any injuries or property damage to the other people if you're found at fault in an accident. But here's the kicker. There's no coverage for damage to your own vehicle. So, if you're in a single car accident or hit something while waiting for a request, you're on your own for repairs unless you have specific add-on coverage from your personal policy. Now, if you're a delivery driver, it's worth noting that the same rules apply. Companies like Uber Eats or DoorDash have a similar structure. If you're online, waiting for a ping to pick up food or a package, liability-only coverage applies. Your car won't be covered unless you have additional coverage of your own. At this stage, you're already partially in work mode, but without full protection. Let's move on to phase 2, where things get a bit more robust. So now you've accepted a ride or delivery request and you're actively on the way to your pickup location. Welcome to phase 2. During this phase, the rideshare delivery company does increase its coverage, but again, there are some important limits to understand. Here's what you're looking at for coverage. Liability insurance is still active and a bit higher now, covering injuries or property damage to others if you're at fault. Collision and comprehensive coverage may be available, but here's the catch. This coverage only applies if you've purchased collision or comprehensive coverage on your own personal auto policy. It's not automatic. And yes, there is a deductible, often around $1,000 or more for rideshare drivers, which means you'll still have some out-of-pocket costs in the event of a claim. For delivery drivers, the same coverage rules apply. If you're driving for a delivery company and en route to pick up a customer's order, the liability insurance increases, but the vehicle protection is only available if you have collision or comprehensive coverage in place personally. As a quick reminder, if you're finding this helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any critical tips on navigating insurance. Now we're in phase 3, which is when you have a passenger in your vehicle or a delivery item on board. This is the most protected phase under rideshare and delivery insurance policies. During phase 3, you get higher liability coverage, typically the maximum offered by the rideshare or delivery company. And if you have collision or comprehensive coverage on your own personal policy, you also get coverage for damages to your vehicle, again with that deductible requirement. One thing to keep in mind, some drivers assume that they're covered under phase 3 even if they're only headed in the general direction of a passenger or delivery. But most policies require that the person or the item actually be in your vehicle for phase 3 coverage to apply. That's a critical detail to understand, as it can be the difference between full coverage and none at all. And a quick tip, if you're driving from multiple apps at once, you do need to know which app's policy covers you at any given moment. So if you're logged into both Uber and Lyft, for example, the Active Requests app is the one providing coverage. So if an accident happens while you're logged into both, the app whose request you've accepted is the one with coverage responsibility. So after going through all three phases, you might be wondering, what's the best way to make sure I'm fully protected? The answer, in many cases, is to consider a rideshare endorsement on your personal insurance policy. This add-on is specifically designed to fill the gaps in coverage during those critical times when you're online but waiting for a request or en route without a passenger or delivery. Many major insurers offer this endorsement, and it's typically affordable, especially compared to the out-of-pocket cost you could face without it. Let's recap the essentials. Phase 1, that's when your app is on waiting for a request with limited liability coverage, but no protection for your own vehicle. Phase 2 is when you're on your way to pick up a passenger or delivery with higher liability coverage and potential vehicle protection if you have personal collision or comprehensive coverage. Phase 3 is when you're actively transporting someone or something where full coverage is in effect, including for your own vehicle if you've got the right personal policy. Each phase has specific conditions, and understanding them is crucial to avoid surprises if something goes wrong. In summary, driving for a rideshare or delivery company has unique insurance challenges that you can't ignore. With thousands of drivers on the road every day, many unaware of these coverage gaps, it's important to take proactive steps to protect yourself and your vehicle. Double check your personal policy, consider adding a rideshare endorsement, and always know the phase-specific coverage rules before you drive. So whether you're driving full-time, part-time, or just looking to earn some extra cash, remember that understanding your insurance coverage can save you a lot of financial stress down the road. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights on staying protected as a driver. See you in the next one.